Right, so last time in the video which we talked about lamination, this is where we ended up, but there is another way that you can actually bend wood, and this one is called steam bending. Let's have a look at this. Right, so pull up a chair, particularly this one because on the back here we have got the backrest, and we want to have a look about how this has been made because I hope that you can see, particularly if I draw it here on a plan view, that it is a curved back like this. Now you might well say, okay Simon, look, I can make this in the lamination process, and you'd be quite right, but what you would see are telltale signs of the lines of layers being glued together. And I guess this chair, look, it's made out of all solid timber. So the idea is to get this solid timber look. And the only way to do that would be to use solid timber pieces. Let's just study this for a moment. The backrest would be made from a piece of wood similar to this. There is a method where I could take a much thicker piece and I could draw on my curved back and then cut that out with the bandsaw. But as you can see, I'm going to end up with a lot of waste wood here. Certainly here and here and here. And this will certainly get worse as we go for even steeper curves. But do you notice something happening here? You know, we talked about this before. This is short grain. And as we know, short grain is weak. And therefore, this piece wouldn't be very strong. And you can even see this happening here on the smaller piece here, that you're going to have some weak parts to this. So it would be great if I had some sort of process where I could take this solid timber and get it bent. So steam bending is exactly the process that I need to enable me to do this. And first of all, I'm going to need a steam chamber. And this is basically a pipe, or sometimes it's a box, which has a sealed end. Then we need some way of being able to create the steam. A water heater or a kettle would be ideal for this. We take the steam produced by the kettle and we pump it in via a tube into the steam chamber. And then taking the piece of wood that we want to bend, we place that into the steam chamber. And then take the lid of the steam chamber and place it on top, like so. Come on, get into place. And we'd leave it in the steam box for 1 hour for every 25 millimeters of thickness. Now, it's not an exact science, you know, this is wood we're dealing with, so nothing is ever totally exact with this. And we just have to keep checking and seeing whether we feel it's ready for bending. So if you think about it, we're actually reversing the seasoning process that we've already done in this wood. So, you know, remember that's a way of reducing the amount of moisture in the material. And by pumping steam back in, we're reversing this. So the wood becomes, again, more flexible and more pliable so that we can shape it. And just like the lamination process, we need a wooden block to form the shape around. So we need a former. And again, I've drilled some holes in here for the cramps to fit in. So we've got some cramp holes there. So when you feel that the wood is ready to be bent, you take it out of the steam chamber and cramp it to the former. We then add more cramps, easing the wood around the bend until we've achieved the bend that we want. Then you have to leave this to dry for quite some time, you know, at least overnight. So, you know, plus 16 hours, or, you know, even a couple of days. Even some pieces we've had to leave for a week. Then we can take it out of the former and see the shape that we've got. What you might find is that the wood relaxes a little bit. So it loses a little bit of the curve that you wanted. And we call this spring back. And any good designer will build this into the former So they'll make this tighter curve than what you actually need. That'd be a tighter curve than needed. There we go. Now this little steam backed chair that I've showed you has nothing on this chair. Look at this one. Wow. It just shows you the complexity that the Fournet company managed to get on this bistro chair, which is quite a famous design of theirs, which came into being in 1859. So you can imagine we're doing steam bending for ages. You know, so over that time we've found that hardwoods are the better woods to steam bend, particularly things like ash and oak and beech. And you've also got your modern materials now, like bamboo's being played around with a lot, and also, you know, the old-fashioned cane. And the experts say that the earth season wood is easy to bend than the kiln drying wood. And I found here a more complicated former which will bend this wood around 180 degrees, you know, just in case you didn't believe me that we could do it. Now, if you're designing something to be steam bent or laminated, don't go for sharp corners like this. This is not going to work. Remember, you need a nice long radius in your curve to be able to get these shapes that you want for your design. So you need to be quite clever about the former design, and make sure that you put all this clever design work in your folder work as well, because the designers, the former, can actually get you more marks because it shows off how clever you've been. And just to conclude with this steam bending, you can see that the wood grain now is running from end to end without any interruption at all, and that will give it real good strength. So we've got long wood grain and strength. Okay, so that wraps everything up. I'll see you shortly.